Hey everyone, welcome to our Friday overall show of E3.
Yeah.
Where we're going to talk about, everything overall that happened. And really just our overall impressions and feelings about all the shenanigans that happened over the last,
Yeah.
So we're going to start this off by, we're going to rank the conferences
Okay.
from worst to best.
Okay.
So, starting off with our worst one,
Uh-huh.
which we're going to rank these 9 to 1.
Yeah.
Monkey, would you care to let the people know what our worst, what we feel was the worst conference?
What we feel the worst conference was the... Well, yeah, I guess I was going to do a little drum roll thing. It doesn't deserve a drum roll. It's Oculus Rift.
No, it's Oculus
bad.
Rift is the worst out of all of them.
It was not a great conference.
No, it was boring. It was rather dull.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was so boring it was dull again.
Right.
It's just, it was bad. It was, oh man, there was nothing really good about it. Like, there's nothing good I can say about it.
Mm-hmm.
Other than, well, they had a conference.
Right. Which is something they haven't done before.
Exactly.
So.
They've done other things. They've made a platform.
Right.
They've made a couple $1 billion from Facebook.
Yeah.
They've not had a conference.
Correct.
And it shows.
Mm-hmm.
For me, what made it so bad was there were a lot of times where they would pause for like someone to clap, and nobody clapped
Oh.
for almost the entire conference until the founder of the company showed up on stage.
Yeah.
Another part was like VR is not something you can demo on a stage well,
Right.
and they didn't really demo any VR on stage,
Mhm.
which is good because you really can't.
Right, yeah, it just doesn't work so well.
Yeah, but again, like there was one point where they had a T-Rex on screen. I've mentioned this before, and they were just like, "Now imagine it coming out at you. Imagine it trying to eat you." That doesn't help sell VR.
Right. Yeah, because I can imagine it without your product.
Exactly. I don't need your product to imagine this happening.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, it was bad in lots of ways,
Mm.
and that's why it deserves to be at the very bottom of the list.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep. Our next one, number 8,
Number 8.
is Square Enix.
Mm-hmm.
There's, oh man. Why was this at the bottom near the bottom of our list of the actual proper conferences?
A year, I reckon.
Because it was bad.
Plain and simple, really. Like they were nobody really seemed really excited to be there,
Right.
except for the guy with the creepy Jack Skellington mask.
Uh-huh.
Other than that, nobody really felt like they wanted to be there.
Right.
It was really boring. They didn't really show a whole lot of anything new.
Mm-hmm.
And what they did was just like, oh, okay,
Right.
what else?
Yeah, most of their conference was like stuff we'd already seen from other conferences.
Exactly. And the guy giving it was like, all right, they're on a podium. And he just looks so bored.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it was not good.
Yeah, it was not a super great time.
No. And the one game Monkey wanted was a part of a montage.
Right.
One of their biggest games.
Yeah.
You wanna share your thoughts on Final Fantasy 15?
Final Fantasy 15 is a game I want very, very much. Everything I've heard about it, from the first time they pitched it as Final Fantasy 13 Versus, through all of the different versions it's gone to till now, it always, to me, sounds awesome. And yet it is no closer to getting a release date now than it was years ago when they announced it.
Nope. And it's just, ooh. Even Kingdom Hearts 3 looks more developed than Final Fantasy 15.
Right.
And they said they wouldn't finish Kingdom Hearts 3 until they finished 15.
Yeah.
That does not look to be the case.
No. No, it does not.
No. So, their boringness and lackluster of anything new kind of makes them in the 8 spot.
Right. And they had that one problem with the interpreter where he just
Yes.
stopped doing his job.
There were some technical issues where it was just like, I don't think he stopped doing his job. I
Right.
just think his microphone just wasn't on anymore.
Yeah, we stopped hearing him doing his job.
Exactly. And when we're on there and it's just like, oh, we can't hear the interpreter. Well, there's no point
Right, because they weren't showing videos, that's for sure.
Yo, they definitely weren't showing any video. It was just like, hey, there he is.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Square Enix, it's been a long time and it shows.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so our number 7.
Number 7 is EA.
And they got the number 7 list because, honestly, they were boring.
Right.
They started strong.
Mm-hmm.
They ended strong, which is why they're not at the bottom.
Correct.
But everything else, oh, did they fail at?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, mate.
It's like,
It
it felt like hours. Just hours of sports.
I legitimately believe I took a nap and woke up and it was still during the conference.
You did take a nap during the sports, and I believe, didn't you wake up for the mobile?
I think I woke up for, they had something that I'm like, oh, that looks a little cool, and then I'll take a nap for a little bit, I guess.
Yep. Also, like, one reason they also did a really poor job is they spent a lot of time on mobile.
Right.
Which makes sense because, again, like, the conferences aren't really made for us. They're made for business people.
Right.
However, you're still at E3, and mobile, I don't feel, is the section to do for mobile. It's just the wrong audience.
Right.
And you gotta tailor your message for your audience, and mobile wasn't it.
Yeah.
So, with those reasons, we gotta shove you down to number 7.
Mm-hmm.
And number 6, we would call Ubisoft.
Ubisoft.
Because, you know, they had a lot of good games.
Right.
They had a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
They had the perfect host.
Yes.
For them.
Yep. Yeah. Aisha Tyler fit exactly the tone they wanted to go for.
Exactly. Which I feel was a tone not for professionals or adults.
Right.
For that teenage kid who's just there to have fun.
Yeah.
And it fit perfect for the games they were doing, for what things they were showing off.
Right.
It fit perfectly for them.
Yeah.
Could have been better. Could have been a little more, like, technical savvy.
Mm-hmm.
But, overall, pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not one I would watch again, like I would the other ones that are higher on our list.
Right.
But, it was solid.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And number 5?
Number 5 is Bethesda.
Because you sound inquisitive. Like you were confused.
Well, it's partially because they had a really, like, there's so many conferences here, and, like, they definitely weren't bad. Like, they were a really strong conference, and yet they're only number 5 in the list.
Exactly. They had probably, oh god. They probably had the most anticipated game there.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be Fallout 4.
Right.
And they had the greatest showing of Fallout 4 because they showed it for a half hour straight.
Which is pretty amazing at a conference.
It was. They really only had 4 games for over an hour. And each one got a really healthy chunk of what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And it was awesome. However, it wasn't the most, practiced. It wasn't the best out of all of them. But it was good.
Yeah.
It was really solid. It had the most anticipated game ever.
It was, in fact, that.
It was that. So, yeah, that's why they are number 5. I can't wait for Fallout 4.
Yeah.
That's all I want. And for number 4, we have Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you want to describe why they're number 4?
Muppets.
Yes.
Like, they were just straight up like, guys, we're going to take advantage of the fact that we're not doing a traditional conference. They put up a video.
Oh, yeah.
Which they had done all beforehand. And they used that to their strength. So that instead of it just being them up on stage talking for a while, they had these, like, Muppets.
Yeah.
They were Muppets, and that was their transitions between game titles. And it worked awesome. It fit the tone they wanted. And it really conveyed, like, that sense of childlike fun and wonder.
Exactly. It was hilarious. The only reason they are so high on the list, honestly, is because of the Muppets and their presentation.
Right.
It wasn't the content,
Mm-hmm.
because they had very few games we were really interested in, and they had a lot of games where nobody asked for this.
Right.
But their conference was good enough, and it was definitely better than the rest.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the lackluster of good games, they kind of got pushed down all the way to number 4.
Yeah.
So, our number 3, I believe this is your personal favorite.
It's definitely up there for sure. And this would be PCs.
Yes, they did. It wouldn't be Assassin's Creed if there weren't glitches like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they're number 3 because they were 2.5 hours of content.
Yes.
There weren't a whole lot of lows. There weren't a ton of highs.
Right.
But it was consistent all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't just talking, it wasn't just a video and moving on.
Right.
EA, we looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
They went in depth with almost every single game and developer for sometimes 10, 15 minutes just talking to them and having, an actual discussion and really learning about the game design of the whole thing and why they're doing it. And that was really important to me as someone who really loves video games.
Yeah. And I think it fit the PC crowd very well.
Oh, very much so. So, for that, you guys are number 3. You did awesome. Day 9, we love you.
Mm-hmm.
You're hilarious.
Yeah, he is.
I remember Day 9 just from a couple of videos.
Uh-huh.
But I would totally watch more of, if he wants to host more things.
Right.
I'm on board for that.
Yeah. I'm on board for that too.
Alright, so, our number 2.
Number 2 is Sony.
Yeah, Sony, come on down. Yeah, they're not here. They had a really, really strong conference.
Mm-hmm.
Easily, obviously, the second best one.
Right.
And they had the games, they had the feature, a new feature, where they had something that could potentially be completely groundbreaking when it comes to some entertainment, which I find funny that they were giving Microsoft flack for entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're the ones doing it with where you can subscribe to individual channels.
Yeah.
Which I think is amazing.
Yeah, no, for cable purposes, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's like, I honestly don't need you, cable.
Yeah.
I just need the internets.
Pretty much.
Work together on
So,
this.
I mean, they had one of the biggest surprise games, which was Horizon.
Yeah, which looks like super cool.
Oh yeah, it has become one of my most anticipated games now.
Yeah, no, I didn't expect it was going to be a thing, and now I really, really want it.
Oh, I want that game so badly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they had some really good. They just had a really strong, solid conference.
Right.
But there were just, 1 or 2 low points that kind of kept them from being number 1.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yep. And with that comes our number 1 conference. And by process of elimination,
you may have figured out the number 1 is
Microsoft. And they're number 1 simply because they had the best conference.
Right.
No, I did not want to do that. They didn't really have any low points at all.
Mm-hmm.
They announced amazing things.
Correct.
Some things nobody thought was possible. Same like Sony.
Mm-hmm.
Both Microsoft and Sony easily had the strongest conferences of the entire thing.
Yeah.
And both of them announced things that nobody thought was ever going to happen.
Correct.
Like Shenmue 3,
Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yep.
And then you have backwards compatibility with 360.
Yeah.
No one saw that coming.
No, it was like, what?
That's a thing?
Yeah.
But we love that it's a thing. I can finally have Monkey play all of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Which I know, not Assassin's Creed.
Well, I mean...
I can make you play all of Assassin's Creed.
Right, that too as well.
Yes. But mostly I can finally make Monkey play all of Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Because he's only played the first one.
Correct.
You touched the second one, but not enough to count.
Correct.
So I'm super excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
They announced some super strong games.
Right.
Some new IPs.
Yep.
Like Recore.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks so good. It's from the people who made... It's Keiji Inafune,
Mm-hmm.
who did Mega Man.
Yeah.
And the guys who did Metroid Prime.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
I'm super excited. So yeah, those are our rankings for the conferences.
Yep.
The top 4, you guys don't need to change anything.
Right. Keep doing what you're doing?
Just doing what you're doing and just keep on at it.
Yeah.
You bottom 5. No, never mind. No, Bethesda, you're doing great too.
Right.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Ubisoft, get rid of a few things, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Now, EA, Square, and Oculus.
Mm-hmm.
Get your stuff together.
Right. Yeah, you three in particular need to step up your game.
Yeah, because there's almost no excuse for what you guys showed.
Mm-hmm.
Which was nothing worth mentioning.
Yeah, which is really the worst thing coming away from a conference.
Exactly. I mean, the only thing I can really say about Square is Kingdom Hearts 3 looks amazing.
Right.
And that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
Oculus, you're trying to launch a platform.
Yeah.
This is not how you do it.
Nope.
That's not
the... You got the wrong foot going forward. You need to take a step back and try again.
Yeah, just try again. I mean, a lot of people are super excited for VR.
Mm-hmm.
A conference like that can ruin that.
Correct.
It ruined it for me.
Mm.
You guys gotta try it again. I believe in you. I believe you can do it.
Yeah.
I don't believe that I can chase this guy. However, you guys can sell people on VR.
Yeah.
But as of now, AR's kicking your butt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's alone. Like, HoloLens, Minecraft. Right. That alone could push Microsoft to the top.
Correct.
Like, just have that, and that's done.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was super amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome technology, awesome application. Like, ready-made with something that, like, is already in the hands of a lot of people.
Exactly.
It's a great combination.
Just do it. I mean, just look at what they did. Try to find a way to demo it.
Mm-hmm.
This is getting really annoying. Alright, so now that we've ranked them all, we're going to try and describe each conference in one word.
Okay.
You ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready for this.
Alright, Moogie, how would you describe Oculus? Nope. That is particularly a really good word to use.
I couldn't even find a word for it, so I just
Nope, that's legitimate. Alright, for me,
Uh-huh.
my word is awkward.
Awkward. Okay.
It was a horribly awkward conference.
Now, would you spell it O-C-C word? Awkward?
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 Yeah, yeah.
I would not,
Okay.
but I am now. Because I never even would have thought of that.
Mm-hmm.
But it works.
Yeah.
So, that works. It was very awkward.
Yeah, I can agree to that.
Yeah. Alright, so, how would you describe Square Enix?
Square Enix, I would describe as disappointment.
That's the exact same word that I would use.
That's bad when two people are in agreement that the only word they can think of to describe your conference is disappointment.
Exactly. I mean, Square, you probably have some of the biggest games that people are most excited for. And you just showed them with no love, no feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Just, we have to be here.
Right.
Bethesda announced one, so we had to do it.
Correct.
Here's our stuff.
Yeah.
Gotta get yourself together. How would you describe EA?
EA, I would describe as hollow.
Ooh, why hollow?
Because they had like these great, awesome bookends to their conference, but then the rest of it just kind of fell flat.
Yeah?
It's like it was hollow.
Nope, that's a really good way to put it. I described it as boring.
Yeah, no, I can feel that.
I tried to think of a really clever word for it, but EA was just so boring.
Right.
The only word to describe it was boring. Like you said, great bookends. Almost nothing in the middle.
Yeah.
Hollow, that's the perfect word. Alright, what about Ubisoft?
For Ubisoft, I would say like adolescent.
Okay.
Like they've got some cool things going on, and like they've got their idea, like an idea of what their identity is.
Yes.
But there's still some growing pains of like, it's fun, but it's not as polished as it could be, and like they're at a point where I think without like losing that level of like funness and excitement,
Yeah.
they could still like improve their quality and like reach something even better.
Exactly, and I kind of feel the same way. Like, my word was immature.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of immature humor, and, I mean, it is Aisha Tyler, and she does it really well.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
If it was anyone else, it would have been really, like, inappropriate.
Right.
But for her, everything was really well done.
Yeah, it was conveyed with, like, a sense of, like, such enthusiasm that you're like, you know, you're really going at this.
Exactly, and she is the one person who probably just rolled with anything and everything that happened.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what it was, she could do it. And that's why I think she's the perfect host for Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Nobody else could probably do that.
For sure.
Yeah. Alright, how would you describe Bethesda?
Bethesda... I would describe Bethesda as, like, this is going to sound a little weird, but I kind of want to say fatherly.
Ooh, that's a really good word. Why fatherly?
Because, like, I don't want to say they're a little older, but that's kind of what I feel like from them, like, watching the conference, like, they're not about, like, the super big hype, but they can still get excited. And they're about, like bringing in all this stuff that they've had for all this time and sharing it with you. And, like, I don't know. That's just the word that comes to my mind when I think of Bethesda, and particularly that conference.
All right. No, that's a really good way. I mean, they are an old company. They've been making games for a long time. I mean, they were on the original Xbox.
Right.
Which not many people can say.
Mm-hmm.
And no, that's a perfect word for it. Fatherly is really good. I described them as meaty.
Okay. Yeah.
Just because every game they showed had a lot of meat to it. Like,
right.
They weren't showing, I was like, alright, here's a teaser.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like, hey, here's Doom. Alright, now here's 15 minutes of us playing Doom.
Right, yeah.
And here's us spending like 5 to 10 minutes describing this one feature of Doom.
Mm-hmm.
And with Fallout, like, you go on YouTube, you type in E3 Fallout, you get a 34-minute video.
Right.
Of what they did.
Yeah, which is amazing for a conference.
Exactly, and that's unedited, just like from start to finish, that's all Fallout.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Definitely.
So, that's why for me, they're a meaty company.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
It fits well. Alright,
so, Sony.
For Sony, what I had said was, like, what comes to my mind is cool.
Ooh, alright. How'd you get cool?
So, like, they weren't the most impassioned, they weren't the most, like, enthusiastic. Like, they weren't as, like, they didn't approach everything with, like, the same amount of vigor that, like, Ubisoft did.
Yeah, that's true.
But they delivered, like, for the most part, they delivered, like, quality, consistent stuff. But they didn't have, like, the highest level of, like, enthusiasm or energy to it,
yeah.
But it was still really good, and it was still like it still felt like deliberate enough
exactly.
that like they want to do this,
yeah.
But they just don't have like that same sort of really eager personality in displaying it.
All right, they were very cool about everything.
Right,
I like that. For me, they were aggressive.
Okay. All right.
Just because some of their wording of how they worded things was very aggressive towards Microsoft.
Okay.
I know there's always been a rivalry between them, but Sony, I feel like Microsoft has not thrown any punches.
Right.
Sony just keeps on jabbing at them.
Yeah, they're okay with doing that.
Exactly, and they can get away with it.
Right.
And I feel like they said Call of Duty is the new, like, PlayStation is the new home of Call of Duty.
Right.
That has been Microsoft's thing since Call of Duty 4.
Right.
And it has always been a Microsoft, like, this is a Microsoft game. This is an Xbox game.
Yeah.
And now it wasn't even at the Xbox conference. It was only at
Sony's.
Yeah. And it was just like, that's
big.
a huge deal.
Yeah. Call of Duty is no small franchise.
No. And now it, like, DLC comes exclusive to Sony first for that 30 days, which is the same deal Microsoft had.
Yeah.
Now it's theirs.
Yeah.
That's massive.
It's really big. That's a lot of dollar signs.
Exactly. So, that's why they kind of got it.
Yeah, that's cool.
So then...
we get to Microsoft.
It's Microsoft. How will you describe Microsoft?
I would describe... I almost want to use 2 words here, like a word and then a hyphen.
You get 1 word.
1 word. Okay. I guess I'm going to go with hype.
Okay. They did have a lot of things that hype people up.
Yeah. And it was even like... they had a pretty good like tempo where they had very few breaks where it wasn't just... hey, here's a game, world exclusive, world premiere, exclusive on Xbox, coming only to Xbox. A lot of that sort of stuff going on. And it was like one thing right after the other.
Yeah, no, there was pretty much just bam, bam, bam.
What about you? How would you describe Microsoft?
Honest.
Okay.
They were very honest about what they were doing.
Uh-huh.
About, you know, the backwards compatibility. They're like, hey, you all really want this.
Right.
We have this.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, I'm pretty sure I already have this treasure, but I'm gonna do it one more time.
Okay.
And it's just like, alright, yeah. They were completely honest about everything.
Uh-huh.
Like, their games... like, I didn't really feel there was a whole lot of fluff to their games.
Right.
It was just like, hey, here are the games.
Yeah. That was pretty much what they did.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there was Record that they just had a trailer for.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, obviously they're going to have games where they only have a trailer.
Right.
But it was just, it was so good.
Mm-hmm.
So, I really appreciate their honesty with, like, backwards compatibility, how they're bringing it, like, they're basically copying things from PC, and they even say it's like, hey, you know, this stuff works.
Right.
You guys want it, so we're going to give it to you.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're just honest with gamers.
Which is really cool.
Exactly. So we have one more thing to discuss.
One more thing.
We're not going to go through the entire list.
Right.
But our E3 predictions and how many points we got.
Okay.
So, Monkey.
Right.
How much did you get for Sony's?
After careful evaluation and examining closely from Sony's conference, I got a point.
Just one.
Just one.
Just one little point.
Just 1 point.
What was that 1 point?
That was the Sony would take a dig at Microsoft in there.
Yep, no, they did.
Yep.
Alright. Okay.
Yeah.
I got 2.5 points.
Okay.
Because they had a Last Guardian trailer.
Right.
Which was also halfway a demo.
Uh-huh.
So, that was my point.
Cool.
However, we ain't got no Witness, no Gravity Rush. They did not give a solid release date to Uncharted 4.
Right.
Which is why I only got half a point.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said there'd be a demo.
Yep.
And I said that Vita would, you know, be a little side thing and not really worth the time. And, you know, it was a part of the indie blurb.
Right.
Which it was.
Yep. It was like, yep, that's a thing, all right.
Yep. All right, Monkey. How'd you do from Microsoft?
For Microsoft, I had a point.
Ooh.
But it was split up over 2 things.
Oh.
I got a half point because there was a Viva Pinata game, but it wasn't a new Viva Pinata game.
Yes, that was part of their whole 30 games for $30.
Right. But there was an appearance of Viva Pinata again.
Nope, there was.
As well as Fable Legends was there.
Yes.
It wasn't available like right away, like I had said it would be.
Yep.
Let's strike to foes, shall we?
But it was there.
I mean, well, it could be there.
Right.
Like, it could be out now.
Uh-huh.
There's a beta you can sign up for.
Right. But I had intended it, like what I had meant to say was like, it would be available to full consumer base.
No, that ain't gonna happen.
Right.
That's not till this holiday.
Right.
Alright. I got 3 points.
Okay.
Where Rise of the Tomb Raider demo
Okay.
and release date.
Yep.
We got.
Uh-huh.
Super excited.
Right.
Gonna be playing it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Battletoads trailer.
Yeah.
Got about half a point.
Nice.
Because, well, same thing with Viva Pinata.
Right. They showed it, but it wasn't.
Now,
A possibility.
I got another point for the Halo 5 demo.
Okay.
They started with it.
Nice.
That's why as soon as I got it, I was like, oh, that's my point.
Yeah.
And then you have, for my last one, they would focus on gamers and the games.
Right. And they did that.
They didn't waste any time really with any entertainment. It was just like, hey, we know what you want. We got what you want.
Yep.
We're done.
Yeah, exactly.
There's not a
Yeah.
pirate
Alright,
lurking
Mookie.
who turned his back on a
Nintendo.
keg of rum.
Nintendo.
Oh, yes.
I got a point
Yes, I suppose
because
that's
there was a new Mario RPG. And it actually happened to be, I had mentioned the two big franchises, like it's going to be Mario Luigi or Paper Mario.
Yep.
Turns out it was both.
It was both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would almost say that's worth 2 points. But
Yeah.
because I want to win, it's only 1 point.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited for Mario Paper Jam.
Right.
It looks so fun
Mhm.
and so good. If you guys haven't seen it, you guys should really go check that out.
Yeah.
All right, I got. Was that all?
Yeah, that was the only one I got.
Oh, okay. I got 3.5 points,
Okay.
which was during their conference. There would be a game that made us go what, and that was the Shinigami Tensei X Fire Emblem.
Right.
Because when they showed that trailer, neither one of us knew what was going on.
Right. Absolutely no idea.
It was really weird and confusing. And then the new Fire Emblem got a new gameplay trailer,
Yeah.
which is another point. And we have a new Metroid game for the 3DS.
Yeah.
With a special edition new 3DS, which we did not have.
Right.
I honestly almost wouldn't say we have a new Metroid game, but it's Metroid in the title.
Right. So that counts.
Yes, and I wish it didn't.
Mhm.
I don't want that point. That's one shame point for
Fantastic
me.
work. Very promising.
Shame.
Yep. And I said they would mention or tease or hint about Project NX.
Okay.
And Reggie Fils-Aimé. Okay, earlier in the year,
Right.
he said they would not talk about or really mention Project NX.
Right.
Easy now.
The first thing he talks about in his introduction is the NX.
Right.
So,
Well,
That was the
your numbers
thing.
look
yep,
good.
that was the thing.
Now let's
All
make
right,
sure
so
we
now
don't
our
break your
third
brain,
parties.
Third parties.
Heck yeah.
I
Did you
got
ever had
3.5 points in this category.
Nice.
Yeah.
How? All right. What was your first point?
All right.
That's it?
First point,
Down.
Star Citizen was at the PC conference, and it was only like nothing meaningful happened. It was just Star Citizen is a thing. Jump on the bandwagon, and then they left.
Nope.
you okay?
Yep.
I just need you to look at the lights here.
That
one
was
at
the
a
thing.
time.
Mm-hmm. Mass Effect 4. They showed basically a teaser trailer.
They showed a trailer.
Yep. With no real indication about when it's coming out or anything, just that, guys, we're doing this thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
I got a point for Ghost Recon showing up. Tom Clancy's Ghost
Do you have
Recon.
any blurred vision?
Now, I did
Just
put a little
let me know.
caveat in that
far, so
prediction
good.
that
Let's get
it'll
you up.
be announced but never come out.
Yep.
So I guess
Welcome
that
to
can be
the
called a
Sample
tentative
17
point.
project.
Yeah.
But I'm unfortunately pretty confident it's not.
No, not really.
And then my last point
Yep.
is a half a point because Kingdom Hearts 3 was at Square Enix's
Yes, it
conference with gameplay trailer,
Yes, it was.
but no release
All
date.
right, let's take a walk.
Was your specific
file
thing
says
it would
you've done
be
some memory research
at
before,
Square
but not to this extent,
with a
which
trailer?
is surprising.
And a release date.
Very good.
So that would be
The
like
data streams are very
0.66 points.
stable.
Okay. All right.
Because you had 3 parts of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I really wish there was more to that.
Right?
Yeah.
This building is
Sorry,
barely
didn't mean to run
6
into you.
months old,
Mhm.
but
All right.
Abstergo Entertainment
No, it's
has
a
been
pretty
a
solid
studio
thing.
for a
Yeah,
few
what about you?
years.
All right,
Since
so I
2010.
got 3.66 points.
Nice.
So 0.6 of a point
Uh-huh.
because Bethesda did announce Fallout 4,
Maybe you saw
Right.
Liberation?
but they didn't do it at their
That was our
conference.
first
They
title
did
powered by
it
Animus Tech.
before.
That was just
Right.
the tip of the iceberg.
But I did say there would be a
We'll
quarter
unveiling
for
commercial Animus servers for the
2015
whole
release
world
date.
to
Yep.
There is.
They'll offer
November
passive
15th.
experiences, of course.
And
versions of real history,
there was an
but only the
in-depth
exciting
demo.
parts.
And there
we think
There
that's
absolutely
the
was.
subject for our first
Yep.
full-length virtual
Yep.
feature. Caribbean
My next
Pirates.
half a point,
So that's your
there
game.
would be a Mirror's Edge.
It'll just take a minute, okay?
2.
Okay.
However, it is now Mirror's Edge Catalyst,
Mm.
and
thank
it will
you,
get a
guys.
firm release date. Well, I said they would. Actually, I don't think I get any point for this one because they didn't really demo it.
C'est bon, c'était
It was just a
Magnifique.
slight gameplay
Merci.
trailer.
Right.
So I take that back.
This is for you.
There is
The
no
primary
point for
tool
that
of
one.
our
Okay.
trade,
I'm
your
sad now.
communicator.
The next
Power it
one,
up and give it a
Square Enix
look.
will demo
Pretty slick.
Deus Ex Mankind Divided,
Okay.
which
They did.
there was a thing there.
Yep.
And then I got 0.3 points.
Uh-huh.
You might have noticed that security
Because,
light
well,
around
probably
here.
some more.
That's because
EA
your
will demo Star Wars
communicator is your
Battlefront,
key to getting
which
around.
they did.
Yep.
Reddit will be disappointed.
Were they disappointed?
As far as I could see, a lot people were disappointed on Reddit's.
Okay.
And I was satisfied.
Were you satisfied?
I was not satisfied.
Oh.
I love what they're doing.
Yep.
However, I was not totally satisfied because I
See that
am
flashing
weird.
wireless
Okay.
signal?
And
It means
I
you're hooked up to the elevator. I'll
I
let
do
you
not
do the
want
honors. We're headed up to the
to
Sample 17
use
studio,
the
second floor.
silly. I don't want to play
Luke Skywalker.
as Luke Skywalker or Vader. I
Sure.
don't want that to be in there,
Right.
but it was there. However, the way they did it,
You ready?
it was okay.
Right.
It wasn't the worst.
Yep.
It wasn't the best. It wasn't what I was hoping for, but it was good.
Okay.
And then Ubisoft will share details on The Division,
Right.
possibly a new trailer.
There's the
Yep.
boss.
No firm
Oh, you
release
don't
date.
know,
Uh-huh.
RCCO. I'll introduce
They
you.
gave us a firm release date
Correct.
in February.
They did.
So I got everything right, but a release
Have you
date
met
because
our
I
new hire?
honestly
Just
thought that was
started
coming out in
today.
2017.
Right.
What project?
And
Sample
my last half a
17.
point, Square Enix will showcase a new Final Fantasy that is not Final Fantasy 7 or 15. They showed a remake of 7, almost had this, but they did show a new game,
Right. They did.
The World of Final Fantasy.
Correct.
It'll come out
Just let me
before
get this
Final
one
Fantasy
settled and I'll
15.
see
That
you
is
in
correct.
5 minutes.
So, once all the games from E3 are released, you'll
Yep.
get another point.
Success.
I would almost say
Memories
15
of one
points.
very generous bonus, Desmond Miles. We're pulling all the best stuff from his DNA.
All right,
And
so
hopefully one
looks
day
like I won
we
that
can
one.
forge some
Yep.
fantastic
We have no idea what we're
experiences
going to
from
do
what
for
we
the
find in
winner
them.
or to the loser. So we'll come back to that
Mr.
on
Alex is
another
John.
day.
Correct.
He's just fixing
All right, so that has been the channel
fixing,
holding
calibrating.
first ever
Calibrating,
how of
right.
E3.
Yeah.
So
How'd you think
here
it
we
went?
are. Your
I think it went pretty good.
very
Yeah, me
own
too.
station.
Yeah.
We'd love to know what you guys thought out there.
Mhm.
And we hope you loved it enough that you want us to do it again next year.
Right.
Alright, so we will see you all next week with normal broadcast will resume.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Bye.
Bye.